Every single pair is custom made. After measuring a skater's feet, a technician applies layers of wet plaster bandages. It's similar to making a cast for a broken limb. Only here, each foot cast is comprised of 2 parts. This serves as the first stage mould for a skate boot. The plaster takes 5 to 10 minutes to harden and dry. Then the technician carefully removes the mould 1 part at a time, before reassembling it with elastic bands. He surrounds the mould, called a negative, with sand. Liquid plaster is then poured into the negative to produce a positive mould. The sand is there to make sure that the plaster can't push the walls outward and distort their shape. The plaster fully cools and hardens in an hour, at which point the negative mould can be removed. The technician then mixes thicker plaster. This is coloured to make it easily visible against the dried white plaster. He applies it in select areas, correcting imperfections and tweaking the shape of the mould. He smooths the toes and the rest of the contours, producing the final shape of the boot. He labels the finished mould with the skater's name and puts it in the storeroom until it's time to begin constructing the skate boot. This begins with the boot lining. They staple a piece of leather to the mould, which is then pulled taut. Any wrinkles in the lining would irritate the skater's foot. Next, they glue on various structural pieces, such as this ankle padding. It's made of memory foam, so it gradually conforms to the shape of the skater's ankle. The next step is the most technically critical, because it determines the angle of the skate blade. They apply epoxy resin putty to the front and back of the sole, and stick on 2 aluminium blade holders. Then they prop up the boot for the next 4 hours as the putty dries. They begin constructing the outside of the boot. First, they layer pieces of carbon fibre. High-performance sports products often use this lightweight material for strength. They tie the bottom piece around the blade holders with a strong thread and bond the layers with spray adhesive. Next, a plastic bag is pulled over the boot. They tie off the ends and vacuum out the air. This tightly compresses the layers of carbon fibre. Now, they inject resin, a type of liquid plastic, and distribute it evenly within the bag. The resin seeps into the carbon fibre. After a couple of hours, the resin dries and hardens, leaving the carbon fibre boot stiff and durable. Next, they glue on the outside of the boot, which is made of vinyl. Once the glue dries, they remove the plaster mould and stitch the vinyl in place. They also take a vinyl lace cover, sew one side of it to the boot and attach the other side with Velcro. That way it hinges open and closed for lacing and unlacing the skate. The final step is to attach the steel blades, and then, well, it's time to get your skates on.